To truly understand the horror that is Vel'Koz, one must first know of the Watchers, and how they were blinded to the mortal realm. Beyond the material plane, outside of somehow below it, lies the unknowable abyss. It is the realm of the void. Actually, we need some creepy music for this. Beyond the material plane, outside and somehow below it, lies the unknowable abyss. It is the realm of the void, where no mortal or immortal creature may ever walk. It is not necessary to know how such a place ever came to be, nor why, only that it did. The void is eternal, the void consumes all. In that place, in the cold, endless dark, all is equal and empty. For timeless eons, there was purity in that fact. There was peace, if such a term could have any meaning there. This somehow changed. Not in the void realm, but elsewhere. It was existence. It was something. Where before there had been nothing. Its mere presence scraped against the vast, cold, formless entities that drifted in the blackness. Before this, they had not even been fully aware of their own sentience, and yet somehow they knew they could not tolerate the presence of the other place. This other realm, mercurial, overwhelming creation. The entities watched. They scrutinized. And soon enough, the Watchers found themselves being scrutinized in return. The tiny mortal minds that reached out to them were insignificant, little more than fleeting motes of light at the very edges of the abyss. Yet in them, the Watchers saw a chance to invade the material realm, to destroy it, to silence the intolerable pulsing of reality beyond the void. The boldest of them tore open the veil and hurled themselves upward, only to be horribly disoriented by the sudden shift between the abyss and the corporeal. Corporeal? Linear nature of reality. In an instant, there was time and heat and pain. Change songs on me. Heat and pain. Then there was only cold. The way was shut, and dozens of the Watchers were trapped, and the liminal space between two realms, frozen in the moments of transition. Those that remained, and the void recoiled. They had no concept of what had happened, yet they knew they had been betrayed, and so they adapted. Reaching into the material realm, the Watchers took from the crude matter that comprised it, shaping, corrupting, imbuing it with consciousness. These constructs were the first of the voidborn, and would be their masters, their eyes and ears sent forth into the nightmare of existence to watch, listen, and learn. Among them one stands apart, and perhaps the oldest surviving voidborn, certainly existing the longest outside of the void. He has been known by countless names to those unfortunate enough to encounter him. Thousands of years before Ikathia unleashed the void in the battle, the primitive cultures of Shurima feared the devil, Vel'Koz, who crept forth from the underworld to steal the dreams of wiser men. Though his name has no literal translation in the modern tongue, it equates roughly as to understanding by unmaking. His unsatiable hunger for knowledge has led Vel'Koz across the world to its highest peaks and darkest depths. Cunning, methodical, he has quietly watched entire civilizations rise, stagnate, decay, and spent centuries combing the ocean floor for its secrets, even scrying the movements of the stars in the heavens above him. He carries all of this knowledge back to the great rifts in the fabric of Runeterra, so that the Watchers might know what he knows, and will annihilate without hesitation any mortal who stands in his path. For the void is eternal and will consume us all. a different hunger. With a kiss to my wife, and resting my spear against my shoulder, I joined my fellows as we left the village. The morning was new, dawn stretching through the thick forest of Togogol, as the 6 of us made our way to the watch point by a worn dirt path. We were traveling light, as our vigil would only last until the next moon before another band of spearmen took our place. Tokogol shared borders with Noxus, and its increasing belligerence of late had stirred the house lords to ensure that all their spears were honed. Our journey was short and uneventful, a soldier's dream. The better part of a half-day's march brought us within the sight of the outpost, and we pointed as the signal fire was lit, welcoming us with a column of thin, white smoke. The mood among us comrades was light, the easy talk of bonded brothers and neighbors. Though our duty was to watch the frontier in search of any sign of it, war in Tokogol was a distant thought. We arrived. We found the gates to be the stockade open and unbarred, yet not broken or forced. An odd feeling crept over us, like a chill dancing up our spines. I could see it in the others, just as surely as I felt it in myself. We formed a tiny shield wall. 2 ranks of 3 men entered the stockade expecting to find slaughter, ruin, and destruction, with signs of Noxus for all to see, but we found none of it. What we discovered was a picture of an outpost no different than any other. The fires had crackled down to the embers beneath the cooking pots that were still full. Clothes hung drying, and lanterns still on their poles from the night before. We looked at each other, in alarm, in confusion. It was as if our comrades had simply disappeared. "What could have happened here?" whispered Bell. Our wall straightened and broke as we searched the outpost for any sign of life. "Could they have been captured?" asked Ulrich? I'm bad with names. I approached a wall of stockade. A stripe of timber was burnt blacker than pitch. I reached toward it, and barest touch of my fingertips sent it crumbling beneath a crater of smooth wood underneath. The others found similar marks across the camp, though none of us could fathom how they had been made. A cry sent us all back into the warrior's crouch. "Come back!" It was a Fromm. He ran to us, finding him standing over a body. "It's Halrin," he said, looking to us, "the tanner's boy." The young man was pale, lying fetal on the ground. We saw no sign of battle of him. No blood or wounds. I drew my knife, sinking to my haunches. I brought the blade beneath Halrin's nose. The day was cold. Shallow puffs of breath clouded the steel and the slow, stilted rhythm. "He yet lives," I said, reaching for his shoulder. We crept away as soon as I rolled him onto his back. Halrin's eyes were open, and yet there was nothing there. From what we could tell, he was conscious, but his right eye simply stared up at the ceiling, empty of light. That was not what we had recoiled from. "By the gods," Ulrich breathed. A Franz spat to avert evil, and we joined him. Where Halrin's left eye had been, only a dark pit remained. I had seen enough battle in my time to know the telltale signs of a spear or blade, but no weapon I knew could have made such a wound. It was too clean, too precise for a battle's disoriented frenzy. No pain marked the boy's face from the horrific injury. What could have done this to him? Bell demanded. Some beast, a plague. We shrank back from the body at the thought. No. Seer frowned. His hand strayed to his satchel of herbs and poultices at his waist. No sign of festering. This wasn't disease. "Find the others," ordered Bell. "Now." One by one we found them. These men we knew, men of our village who sold fish. Abandoning Nikali. And hammered steel, all bore the same wound to their left eye, all reduced to the same catatonic state. They appeared almost serene, and all the more horrifying for it. Afron looked to Bell. "What do we do?" "We must give warning," said Ulrich. "Of what?" said Seer. "We have no idea what happened here." They argued. Voice clashed and overlapped. Above it all, I noted the smell of smoke in the air. Wait. The others stopped looking back at me. I swallowed. If they were all in this state, I pointed back to the signal fire behind us. Then who lit the... Ulrich was in the air before we knew what was happening. A blinding flash stole my sight. but I glimpsed a huge, darkened shape against it. Oaths and prayers and curses filled the air from comrades' lips. They were silenced by the crack like a bullwhip, followed by an overwhelming, fizzing shriek. When I could see clearly again, I was on the ground. I looked down to see my legs splayed, broken. Other warriors, my brothers and friends, lay staring up at the sky above. I heard only one other voice and turned. I could only watch as Ephron, a youth of barely 16, struggled beneath the beast. Bathed in harsh violet light, he writhed as one of his appendages sank into his skull through his eyes. His screams stopped as he became a mere husk, like all the others. Then the monster turned its baleful gaze in my direction. In an instant, it was looming over me. I looked up into that single swollen eye and sensed a hunger beyond imagining. A hunger not of flesh, but something far deeper. My soul teetered on the edge of the abyss, its merciless hunger pulling. No. I am Hinnis, Kaidarn, a warrior and spear of Tokagol. I refuse to give it the satisfaction of my cries, even as its tentacles knifed down through my eye. There was no pain. As I work, the analysis can inflict physical pain, should I desire it, but that is not critical here. I have learned much of pain and its uses. Sorry, the client keeps popping back up. This one's information is precious. All knowledges, a settlement, interactions, cases, a particular female of these species, and offspring. This one resists my analysis. But it is a simple thing to overcome. With nothing more to consume, I travel here to disseminate what I have collected. The rift beneath me is a conduit for information to be passed into the true realm. The creatures that inhabit this world have designated our domain as the void. Such curious poetry these entities weave, a curiosity that illuminates how far my task is from completion. A universe of knowledge surrounds me, of great power in distant lands, and I shall collect it all. I offer this information now, and all of the rest to come, accept, consume, and learn. Hey, that's my new catchphrase, by the way. Oh, caste? Yeah, caste system, you're right. It's all about context. They're throwing like all kinds of different things at you. It's been a while since I've read out loud too. I'll be a voice actor. I'll next new audiobook reader, narrator. Yeah, that's some crazy fan fiction right there. Vel'Koz is like sticking his tentacle into your eye to get to your brain, sucks your knowledge out. That's me, alright. That's why I'm a Vel'Koz main. Anyone else relate?